Hello, everybody. This is Sean to the channel. Welcome back to the first day. The time is 18:04 or 6:04 p.m. Hopefully, everybody's having a good day. Please concentrate on the audio. Do not concentrate on the video because I don't have nothing to show you. Just talk. We have some things to talk about today. What's up, Jack Spade? So, I think I just made a discovery. I mean, maybe some other people have thought about this, but this is the first time ever that I think, at least in my inner circle of videos of different social media outlets out there, I think today is our first discussion out there, or the first discussion out there about something that's going on in the CCW and tactical community. All of the tactical courses for security, law enforcement, and military, they're being washed out right now because of California's CCW ruling. So, in a nutshell, what happened is, earlier this week, or actually earlier today, I was looking for EP courses, dignitary protection courses out there. I'm associated with another company who's probably planning on taking me on board, and I want to be useful, right? I want to be useful with the post classes, taking them on board with as a post presenter. Post stands for Peace Officer Standards and Training, and you have to have a certain student to instructor ratio, and I want to help with that ratio, but I can't because I don't have the dignitary or executive protection credentials, right? I don't have any training whatsoever other than some of the tactical courses that I've taken out there, like the CQB stuff. But that's it. So I was researching out there, and a lot of the companies, I'm not going to name right now, they're not offering any of those dignitary protection courses. You would have a 40-hour class. There's some that are offering like a 1-month course, a 2-month course. However, those vendors cater to the, number one, the unemployed, and number two, veterans. When a veteran is discharged from the military, they get GI benefits, and because these vendors have a vocational license, you can use the GI Bill to them. And what they end up doing is, I'm not saying that they're fluffing their curriculum, but there's a lot of components in these 30-day EP courses that I don't need. So, for example, I don't need the guard card course. I don't need the course on report writing or communication. I don't need any courses on de-escalation. Although they're useful, but I really don't need it. And I don't need a 2-day firearm permit course. I don't need a baton permit course. I don't need a chemical agent course. I don't need a taser course. I don't need any of those courses. But these vendors out there add that to the curriculum. And what it kind of does is it prevents somebody like me wanting to attend, because once again, I don't need those courses. And I can't take a month off of my full-time job to attend these classes. So a 40-hour class does wonders for me, but a lot of these vendors are not offering that. And it's a money's game. They can get paid a lot more money with having a 30-day class. I know of a couple of good companies out there that I want to attend their training, but I can't. Okay, so I can't because I don't have time to take all these other classes. I also know, because I was once a brew of secondary education vendor, at least the instructor, and I created a curriculum. You can actually offer a course where the students get they get like a stipend, and they get like monthly pay or weekly pay or something like that, especially for the unemployed. And I know what they do. This vendor I'm not going to mention, we were working together, and my course, it was kind of like a tactical academy. It was only like 1 or 2 weeks, and this person fluffed it to like 1 or 2 months, and I couldn't do that to veterans, right? I'm not going to just add fluffy stuff or add fluff to the courses. So we end up having a falling out, and that's it. And this person probably came off with millions of dollars. And again, I got probably a pinch of that. I mean, I probably got paid, I don't know, $1,500, $1,900 out of like a 2-year time frame, when I was owed probably close to in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. But that's topic another story. I don't want to run down that rabbit hole. So I've been on the search for these classes, dignitary protection classes, and this is what I've been noticing. A lot of the top tier vendors out there, or who are known as like the top tier vendors out there, they're offering CCW courses. So you have ex-Navy SEALs, guys from Ranger battalions, you have guys from Delta, now they're called CAG, and other forward operating military units. They're just offering CCW courses right now. And why is that? Well, it's a money's game. It's a money's game in California. Why should I offer a CQB course or an executive protection course for a week when I might have problems getting clientele? I might have problems getting students because it is a long course. If I can just do a 2-day class, California requires 2 days of CCW training to get your CCW permit, right? And I can charge $340, $350-ish, okay? And I can pack the class with 20 students. 20 students in 2 days, I'm gonna make more than $6,000, okay? Just a month. If I can make $6,000 extra a month from just working 2 days, I'm set. Unfortunately, it's at the risk of safety, right? I mean, if you're running, and I know some companies out there, they're running one instructor and like 20 students or 15 students on the firing line, which is super dangerous. You know, if a company is doing that, walk away. Especially if they're beginners. I mean, if this is the first time that some of these people have shot, you shouldn't be running a line of 10 shooters and 15 shooters with only one instructor or one safety officer. The ratio should be 1 to 5. However, when I ran my own training facility called Desert Tactical in 2010, I started to notice that we're a lot safer if we run 1 to 3, and that's just because the students were brand new, right, to gun handling, and they never handled a gun before. You shouldn't even run a 1 to 5. But I noticed, you know what, I need to run a 1 to 3, and some occasions I ran 1 to 2. Yeah, 1 to 2. Luckily, I had my employee Alex helping me out, and he was a great help. But still, you know, we needed more instructors. That's what's happening right now. And what's happening in California is all of the ranges are being booked by CCW based companies. So your companies that are making $6,000 in 2 days, they're booking all the range times. And that leaves little time for organizations to do hard skills training, that's live fire, CQB stuff, and other types of training. I'm telling you guys, they're booking all of the trainings. Look in California to the major training entities, and you're gonna notice that a bunch of it is CCW. That's it. Personally, right now in 2025, I'm not interested in CCW. I've trained different levels of students, and CCW students require a different level of attention. Actually, they require more attention. My preference is to train 2 CCW students. Like maybe they're a couple, maybe even an elderly couple or aging couple, right? Or just maybe one of them or 2 of them. Probably no more than 3, probably no more than 4. But that is my personal preference as a firearm instructor. That's what I would like to do. But as for training 15 or 20 on the line, I don't want to do that because a lot of these companies are doing these students an injustice. One of my buddies, I'm not going to name, I don't want to say he ghosted one of these schools, but he had to attend to get a CCW, and he's a higher level performer when it comes down to range time, and I'm telling you, he's good. And he told me that the CCW instructor, which I'm not going to name, played a video. I think he played a video from Masab Ayub or something like that. And I got my thoughts about Masab Ayub. I think he does a good job explaining self-defense. But as for placing him up here on a training cadre, I'll just keep quiet right now. I mean, you don't want to criticize Masab Ayub if you're in the tactical community. I mean, some people don't care, but I'll leave him alone. I'll leave the grandmaster of shooting it alone. Now, what's also happening is there's lower level tiers of instructors that are being hired out there. So these premier security or firearms training companies out there, all they have to do is find somebody that has an NRA law enforcement certificate, which is about 40 hours, an NRA protection outside the house certificate, which with all the training included, it's almost like 32 or 40 hours. Or a CHP stands for can't handle. I'm sorry. Sorry, guys. California Highway Patrol, California Department of Corrections certificate, or federal law enforcement training certificate. And I think that's it. Or a post. California Peace Officer Standards of Training Firearm Training Certificate. That's it. And that's all these certificates put together. It's about 40 hours, right? So I could send one of my guys to one of these classes who has maybe lower level shooting abilities or maybe higher level shooting abilities, but lower level skills when it comes down to transferring knowledge. Send him to the class, and now he's certified, right? He's certified to do CCWs after the vendor screening process with the various agencies that are out there. And that's it. I can pay this person $20 an hour, minimum wage, maybe $25 an hour. I could offer them a little bit of money, and I could get a lot of bang for the buck. So I'm making, not me personally, but I can make easy $6,000 in 2 days. The CCW vendor panel is very restricted. There's not enough vendors out there. There's not. And sheriffs are looking for additional vendors to help with the workload. So I'm going to make $6,000 in 2 days, right? And I'm only paying my instructor $20 an hour, 8 hours a day. That's total of like $330. We'll just say $400 for 2 days max. If you're offering me that, I'm out. I'm not working for that. But there's a lot of people out there in the firearms training community. They never had a firearm training job as an instructor, right? Maybe they're a full-time welder. Maybe they work in an office, like fixing computers, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. Maybe they're a teacher, but they just happen to take that course, right? $20 an hour, that's nothing for some people or a lot of people, but for some, hey, that's some extra cash. Guys, that's $6,000 with overhead and everything, considering, and depending on what range you go to, it'll easily turn into like $3,000 to $5,000 profit for just 2 days. You see what I mean? So you can do that, or offer these CQB classes, these tactical level courses once a month, and they may or may not be filled. And you're only going to make like $3,000 or $5,000. Maybe you make 10, but why not fill the whole week with CCW instructors? Actually do it 365 days out of the week. And when you own the company, you're not showing up to any of the training sessions, right? You're just hiring a cadre. You're going to make a killing, guys. Hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars you're going to make. What incentive do you have, even as a second or first tier operator out there, to put training out there, to put good training out there to those tacticians, those who want that higher level of training, when you can just train the masses? So I'm associated with like 5 different companies. I talked to our training director, and he was not interested in offering any of the CCW courses, and he often monitors these videos too. He just wasn't interested. He just wants to do California peace officers or law enforcement officers, military, and he wants to do private security, right? With a slight bend towards law enforcement or a huge bend towards law enforcement. He's not interested. And that's for good reasons. Not everybody wants to do these CCW classes. And I think as firearms trainers, we're doing ourselves a disservice to the community out there when that's all we're offering. When we can offer training at a higher level. So that's what I've been seeing. A lot of the companies out there that have been offering these premier training opportunities, they stop offering that because they can't get range time booked for their courses, and they're doing a cost basis analysis, right? I can make this much or I can make this much, satisfying the security, military and law enforcement community, or private citizens where I'm going to make a lot more. And I don't have to work a day in my life. I'll just hire these instructors, pay them minimum wage, right? And I don't have no problem with paying instructors minimum wage. Okay, look, I don't have a problem with instructors who are lower paid offering these classes because they actually might be really good instructors. But when you get like a computer technician or computer scientist and you make them into an NRA instructor, or have them take a California Post class because he shoots decently, or you send them to a post training organization that just writes off these students, you're really doing yourself a disservice and the whole community that's out there. So these are my current observations. Guys, if you want to train with higher tier firearm instructors, train with us. If you check out the description box below, there's a link to the Citywide Protection Services email, and just send an inquiry. We have a course April 21st through the 25th in Imperial, California. I think it's a $1,500 course for private security, and if you are a peace officer associated with a California Post agency, the limit that they can charge you, it's like $1,200, right? And this course is a steal. You'll be certified. You can apply as a BSIS firearm instructor and qualify private security officers with this certificate. So just something to consider. Check out the description box. There's only 10. I think we only have 10 student openings. Okay. All right. Let me go through the comments here. Edward White says, "Hello, my fellow security officer." Hey, what's up, Edward White? Welcome. Randy's here. Welcome, Randy. He says, "Sounds like a lot of dudes that haven't done EP work cashing in." Oh, absolutely. Yep. Giannis Protection Services. Hey, what's up, Angel? He says, "My CCW class in December had like 30 students in class. We were in groups of 5 for qualifications. Then they get the next group in to qualify, only 1 instructor total." Yeah, so this is the thing. If I ran a California Post class, that wouldn't fly. It wouldn't fly at all. But with the NRA and with Post and with the CCW agencies out there, that's okay. That's totally okay. But when you're running 1 instructor on the line, who's watching all the guys in the back? Think about that. You might have some guys dicking around in the back, flagging each other. You cannot guarantee absolute safety, or not even near absolute safety, if you're only running 1 instructor. And that's what I'm saying is it's really a cost-benefit analysis, right? And this is what these companies, and I'm not putting anybody down here, but I'm just saying that this is what these companies are doing is they're thinking, hey, I can bring 2 instructors, but now I have to pay for 2 instructors, right? And we're going to cash in less. Again, these are just things to think about. But look, Giannis said he had 30 students, guys, in December. So imagine you're sardining these students, 30 in a class. What type of knowledge transfer is going to occur when you got 30 students in the class and 1 instructor or 2 instructors? Very little. That's why I have no interest in it. I'd rather offer the tactical level courses. I know that we're going to make less. I'm going to make less money. But I know that the class is safer, and I know that I'm contributing to the firearms community pie, right? And the bigger slice of the pie. Because a lot of these people are supposed to be responsible citizens, right? And I don't think that they're getting the level of training that they deserve. California is so dumb. They created a 2-day class. All they're doing is getting these training entities a lot richer. That's all that they're doing. So instead of charging $175 a class, now they're charging $340 or more. But thank you, Angel. Knife 123 says good advice, but private security got it hard, dude. We know. Randy says, as a training counselor for decades, most NRA programs has lost a lot of credibility. And then Giannis said, I meant the CCW class I attended. Oh, okay. Hey, Angel, I was bashing on you, man. I was bashing on you, and then I wasn't, and I like you, man. But yeah, for sure. I mean, hey, man, if any of you guys that I know are running 30-to-1 ratio, yeah, I'm gonna put you on blast. It should never be a 30-to-1 ratio. When could it be a 30-to-1 ratio? When you have a higher tier of instructors. I'm sorry, of students. Right? But even 30. Guys, if you're running 30, okay, you're putting 15 on the line with one instructor. I don't know if you guys know this, but out of the class of 30, okay, 10% are going to create a 90% demand of your time. It happens in every class. And I'll say that one more time. 10% of your students require 90% of your effort. What's going to happen is that student that performs higher wants to perform higher and higher and higher, and you're ignoring him because you're spending time with the 10% student. That is what's going to happen. Okay? There's also a lot of higher tier training companies out there. I'm not going to mention any names. I attended Mike Glover's class personally with him in a class of 25. He had like 2 coaches and he ran it by himself, right? I felt like I didn't get I felt like I deserved a little bit more, I want to say attention, right? But I knew that I wasn't going to get that additional attention. I did get the attention from the coaches, who explained, I guess, proper grip. I think decently, right? But after attending more classes, I finally keyed down on how to make a proper grip, right? But that's not what they showed me during the class. Or at least I didn't demonstrate that back to them. So did knowledge occur? Yes. Did it occur to the best of that agency's or training organization's abilities? Probably not. But again, that's happens. There's another higher tier instructor. Everybody knows. Again, I'm not gonna put names out there, but my friend was telling me that the instructor ratio was 1-to-25. Yes, 1-to-25. You're not gonna get personal attention. Do you need personal attention? For me, guys, it takes me, like, for me to learn something, it takes me like 3 times the amount of effort. Especially with physical skills. Reading a book, I have to read a page like 2 to 3 times to finally understand what is being said. 2 to 3 times. I often struggled in college and throughout my academics because I have to continuously read the pages all over again. I have to read the questions like 5 or 6 times to get it. And it just gets worse with physical skills. Imagine you're running a line or you're part of the line and you have the same challenge that I have. But I know not a lot of people have the same challenge. But I get over it, right? I get over it. Command, control, conquer. Anyhow, that's all I got. That's what you're seeing in California. The CCW vendors are taking over the range times. Training entities can't book range times because it's filled with CCW students from other classes, and then some ranges are charging an astronomical amount of range time, like just a ridiculous amount. It's getting out of control, and I'm only seeing this in California. If you're in another state, have you seen that? Have you seen where these higher tier level training entities that used to offer these awesome courses, have you noticed that they're not offering these courses anymore, and they're just being bombarded, or actually they're just producing CCW classes. I've seen it. I've seen it. All right, guys, reach out, send us an email. I have all of the email information in the description box below. Citywide Protection Services is going to start offering some really cool classes, some really cool ones. Every single day, we're trying to develop something different. That's all I got. Take care.